So today we're going to be working on the switches for the electric windows on the Mustang and the door locks. Everything is very corroded. They don't work, so hopefully by cleaning the points we can get everything working correctly. So what I'm going to do is just take some Scotch-Brite to everything, clean it up. All the surfaces that are going to make contact need to be cleaned up. So we're going to clean one at a time and then put it back together as we clean it. So this one looks halfway decent so far. Alright, so there's one cleaned up. So now we'll clean up the inside surface as best we can. Now we can't get in there with too much, so we're going to do the best we can with what we got. Worried about the video quality of this. I hope you guys can really see. I've got a very small garage and it's kind of a pain with a vehicle in here to try to make a video. Very limited on space because I've got a lot of tools and my wife uses the garage as storage for everything, so it doesn't leave me much room to do much. Now I'm kind of guessing on how these go in here. I'm not 100% sure. So we might be putting it together right, we might be putting it together wrong. We'll find out when we get it hooked up. The reason I'm using Scotch-Brite and not like a fine grit sandpaper is mostly because I don't have any fine grit sandpaper, but also I don't really want to take any of the material away. I just want to clean the oxidation off. I don't want to make it weaker, because I'm hoping that once I put this together I'll never have to take it back apart. That's the hope. Now I've got some electrode grease floating around the garage somewhere. One thing that I would like to do is all of the contact points, put some of that electrode grease on there. Now it is conductive, so it doesn't ruin the point. Like it doesn't take any, what is the word I'm looking for? It doesn't take any of the conductive properties away from the metal. All it does is help fight corrosion. And they, from the factory, had some in here, but it's pretty well gone now. I mean, it's deteriorated into almost nothing. So, don't think that it would really hurt anything. Now, the reason these are opposites is because there's a little tab right here that is on opposite sides. See, this tab is at the top of the center point, and this tab is at the bottom of the center point, which indicates to me that the directions of these points are going to be opposites of each other, which makes sense because if you look at the, okay, this is one switch. This let's see, I don't know, your right, my left, your right. I don't know. Anyway, this side will go inside the center where these two tabs are, and this side will go in the center of where these two tabs are. So when you push the button up, it engages one of these two and rolls the window up. When you push it down, it will engage the opposite side. So say up is this one. Whenever you flip the switch, pushes it over this way, breaks the ground connection on this side, hits the positive connection on this side, and actuates the window motor. Now, when applied in the opposite direction, this one will go down, which will in turn roll the window down, and then when in the neutral position, they will both be centered, not touching any contact point at all. At least that's my theory. I don't know for sure. We'll find out. But it makes sense in my head anyway. Whether or not my logic and actuality with this switch are the same are two different stories. We'll find out. I still need to put the harness in the door, get all of that wired up. None of that is wired into the door. A different year model harness is currently wired into the door. It works, but it's missing a bunch of the buttons, and I don't like it. Plus, the door panels that came with the car are cut out for this switch, not that switch. So I really want to keep this car as original as possible, minus the front clip. I would like to find an 87 to 93 front bumper, hood, and headlight housing, just because I like that style better than the double headlights. But that'll be an in-time swap, because that requires some electrical work. You have to redo all the front end wiring for the lights, and it's just something that's not very high on my list of things that I want to do. Right now, what I want is to get this car functioning as it's supposed to function, and maybe even drive it a little bit before the summer's over with. This car I will not drive in the wintertime, just because it's a rust-free 86 Mustang convertible, and I want to keep it that way. The only rust on the car is on the driver's side front fender, and I have a brand new fender to put on it that came with the car. So hopefully that just works out perfectly, and I don't have to get another fender or anything. So I need to find a different camera setup as well for you guys so you can get better angles, things like that. But for now, I'm just kind of starting out with this, just doing it as I kind of have time or whatever the case may be. But I'm always doing something that people might find interesting, or doing things that people might be looking for to help them on their project. So that's really the purpose of this YouTube channel. Isn't how-tos really per se. It's more so just doing it. I enjoy it. My hobby is to work on cars, mostly motorcycles though. That is my life's passion. I love motorcycles. I love everything about them. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be a little Trail 90. I wouldn't care. It's still a bike. It's just stuff that I like. If people learn something along the way, if I can help somebody along the way, awesome, that's great. But to be completely honest, that's not why I started this. I just started it because I wanted something to do. I wanted a hobby, aside from working on things and fixing things. So that's it for that. Alright, so this is going to be a pretty long, boring process. I'll turn you guys back on whenever I have them all clean and put in there before we put the top back on. Alright, well, while I was working on this, we had a visitor show up. Why are you making weird faces?
Because my gum got stuck in my lip.
You want to say hi?
Hi.
I don't think I've really showed anybody what the inside of the Mustang looks like. It's completely gutted, but the front seats. There's no glove box in it, no door panels. Here's the, watch your hand be. Here's the other wiring harness I was telling you about. It's missing this button. It's missing these buttons. I don't really like it, so we're gonna change it. Also, you can just see the bottom of it. That right there is the hydraulic piston for the top, and there's the other one. The reason I'm showing you those is because they're both junk. They spew fluid terribly bad. There's the pump itself. It's in great condition. It works. It's just that the pistons are junk. So the top right now is manual. You got to pick it up by hand and put it down by hand, which truly isn't a terrible deal. There's the sorry about the hand. There's the armrest. It's not terrible. I mean, I'm kind of used to manual tops because of the Wrangler. But this is the fender I was talking about that's rusted out. Right up there is the brand new fender for it. Once we get these doors sorted out, I have to align them because... What are you doing, B?
Get out.
Alright, shut the door. so I can video this. Alright, so as you can see, I have to align the doors. That didn't shut, Bentley, because they don't shut. So you have to pick up on them. So before I put the new fenders on, I'm going to align the doors, make sure everything shuts the way it's supposed to, get the wiring the way it's supposed to, go ahead and put the back of the car back together, get everything cleaned up, get the interior presentable, get everything put together the way it's supposed to be put together, put some new tires on it, and I'm going to leave the car white for the summer. I'm going to go ahead and paint that fender white as well. And this summer, hopefully, drive the car, and then through the winter, we'll get the top fixed. We'll get the new, while the car is legal and I'm driving it, I'm going to go ahead and order all the parts I need for it, like those pistons. I'm going to go ahead and get the paint. You know, everything that I need for the car. The vanity mirrors are missing. Well, this one's missing. That one's still there. But yeah, I'm gonna drive it. You know, have a little bit of fun with it before the winter hits, and then this winter tear it all down, paint it, get the hydraulic top working the way it's supposed to work, and hopefully by then I will have found the front end that I want for this car, and after that it's pretty well complete. I mean, they pulled the 5.0 out of it and put a 351 Windsor in it, and the T5 Trans 5-speed, which is good. I mean, I kind of wish it still had the 5.0 in it, but the 351 is a little bit larger motor. It's got more power. It's been cammed and bored. There was some talk about some head work, but no paperwork proving that there was head work done, so it's kind of a take his word for it, but don't know for sure. I'd like to take his word for it and believe that there's been head work done, but I don't know, because there's no paperwork to prove that there was head work done. As far as the cam and the bore, all of that is proven. There's paperwork on it. I know it's there. Also, they put a tubed front end in the car for weight reduction, and because they pulled the 5.0 and put a bigger engine in it, the tubed front end gives you more room for bigger engines, which is cool. I mean, I'm alright with it. I'm a fan of the 5.0s. They're a very popular engine. There's parts for them everywhere. You can do a lot to them. But that's it for now. As far as the car goes, I'm just going to get the interior back the way it's supposed to be. Not really sure why they cut the leather off of the top, but we'll fix that too. We'll get it all back to the way it's supposed to be, so that we can get it legal and drive it around, have a little bit of fun with it. You never know, might get it together, leave it white, and by winter somebody might offer me something that I can't refuse, and we might have ourselves another project. I don't know. That's the thing with project cars. You know, you build them up, you get them acceptable or even better, and somebody likes it enough to offer you something, or offer you enough cash that you don't turn it down. Sometimes it works that way, but they're out there. People are out there, and people got deep pockets sometimes if they really want stuff. So anyway, let's get back to work on this, get it all cleaned up. I've only got one point left. Let's show you the difference. I mean, they were heavily corroded. Just in bad shape. It's a wonder all of them worked, but this one. It would roll the window down, but it wouldn't roll the window back up. I'm also going to clean the points on this end because some of them are heavily corroded as well. And we've already cleaned all the actual points in here, so they're all pretty clean. We'll give it a little bit more of a cleaning before we really put it together. And for the door lock actuator, that one's in pretty good shape. I mean, it's not too awful bad. Just this one point right here. But we'll get them all cleaned up. Alright guys, so we got all the points cleaned up. Got everything put back together. Now we're just going to put the two halves back together. Clip them in. It's pretty difficult to do with one hand. Let me get that snapped together and I'll turn you guys back on. Alright, so we got it all back together. All the switches seem to work just fine. So I was wrong about that. That is not actually the lock actuator switch. That is the window lock switch. So yeah. Alright, so that's how you take apart a window switch and clean the points and put it back together. Thanks for watching, guys.